What is the significance of vision and declaration in transforming our lives? Stay tuned because you're going to find out right now. Hi, my name is Linda Sunshine West. I'm the founder and CEO of Action Takers Publishing. One of our books, Anatomy of Abundance, is getting ready to be published, and I'm excited to introduce to you one of the authors in the book, Dr. Nikki Lewis. Nikki, how are you doing today? You're over in the Bahamas?
In the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh my gosh, how long have you been there?
I've been over here about 2.5 years.
Okay, and what do you like about it the most?
I'm a beach woman, so I love the beaches. I love being in nature. I love learning about holistic living. So I'm learning so much about different herbs. So different herbs, and I go pick fresh fruit off the tree in the yard and have it for breakfast. I've always loved coconut. Since going to Ghana, West Africa, I fell in love with coconut water. So here I had coconut water this morning, fresh coconut water. So I just love the natural lifestyle down here, and then the cultural aspect as well. So there's still a lot of connections to Africa. So that's just really amazing. The music, the food.
Sounds like you like a lot about it.
I do, right? Yes.
That's cool. What took you there in the first place?
Oh, good question. So I have been a university professor for the last 15 years, and I was offered a position at the university over here, and I moved over here for that. So I was a psychology professor.
That's cool. So you had a reason to go, but now you have a reason to stay. So that's fantastic.
Right. And I lived on another island previously. So that was a draw for the employer and for me. They were like, oh, she's familiar with island life. So this might be a good fit.
Because it is a little bit different, right? Because you have less space to move around, and people sometimes get what they call island fever. I've heard of that before. And it's really just the fever of not being able to get out and do whatever you want everywhere you want to do it, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You're not able to go for a long drive on a highway or anything.
You go for a long drive around the island.
Right. Drive across the island. So for me now, a 30-minute drive, I'm like, oh, it's so far. It's on the other side of the island, 30 minutes,
That's so funny. I guess, we get used to our environment. We just get used to that environment. Yeah. Now, today we're talking about vision and declaration, because in your chapter in the book, Anatomy of Abundance, which I want to put up there on the screen, you can get your copy of the book by going to go.patrinawisdom.com/abundance. And in your chapter, which is called Declare It, Big Vision Energy, and you talk about, vision and declaration and how that can help us to transform our lives. So let's talk about that. Like, what does that mean? What is vision and declaration, and how do we use it to transform our lives?
All right. So I feel like a lot of times people settle in life. So even if someone asks you what you want or what do you desire, instead of giving a big vision, sometimes people tend to just think about what's realistic. So like maybe if your car is broken, you're like, oh, I want my car to be repaired. But no, if you have a big vision, it's I want a brand new car, or a car that's 3 years, something bigger. So not just what seems easily attainable, but we should think big and believe that it's possible. So the vision is thinking beyond your immediate, like being the person. Like I saw a greeting card one time that fit me perfectly, and it said, someone called me unrealistic, and I nearly fell off my unicorn. So it's like, just, don't settle. Like, use your imagination. That's what it's for. Use your imagination, use your vision. And then that's the first part. And then actually declaring it to yourself, to the world, to your creator, your source, whatever you believe as God or your higher power. Say what you want, say what you desire, and stick to it, and it's more likely to happen.
Well, it's interesting, mentioning that because, I've been learning a lot more and more about, these types of things, like the anatomy of abundance, right? Is the title of the book. Abundance is something that I didn't grow up in. I grew up in a lack mindset, a lack environment. And I think a lot of us grow up in those types of environments. So how do we make that shift from lack to abundance? Because it's kind of like complete opposite spectrums. And, is there like, how do we make that shift to go from the one over to the next?
That is a great question. That's true. I think for me, I was fortunate, like very young, I just started taking chances and I saw that they would pay off. And so I'd say start with something small or get a coach like me or a mentor who can kind of take your hand and walk you through the process. But it's definitely
Hmm.
something you have to. I did a lot of reading. I've been into personal development since like 1998. So I'm much older
Oh,
than I
wow.
look, but around 1998, I started reading different things. I grew up in the church, but I always felt like there was something more, something missing. I was like, okay, so God is everywhere all the time. I just was like, there's something more. So I started doing a lot of personal and spiritual development, reading a lot of books back
Mm.
then, and now taking courses and trainings with different people. And so, yeah, in order to change that from a lack mindset, oh my gosh, there's so many things you can do. Like I talk about the power of words. So if you're saying, oh, I feel so sick, you don't want to say that. You want to say, I was feeling sick, but you want to focus on the positive. I'm so happy for a healthy body. I'm so grateful for a healthy mind. So power of words is one way you can start to change your mindset to be more abundant. Power of words, visioning, and again, just thinking what's the best that could happen and taking chances. So
Oh my
take
gosh.
some chances.
That right there. What's the best that can happen? What's the
Right.
best that can happen? Because a lot of times people think of it from the opposite side, this is the worst that can happen. So I love how you
Exactly.
mentioned that. I think that's really an important piece there is like, what is the best that can happen? Like, even ask yourself that every single day. That could be a morning mantra. Like every day I wake up and I say, what's the best that can happen today? Actually, I'm going to make that my
Right.
mantra. So thank you for that. That's a good
Oh,
one. I
you're
love it.
welcome. Yeah, when you're making a decision, don't act from a mindset of fear. Think from a mindset of abundance and positivity. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I know for me that was a hard shift to move into that space of positivity. It was, it was a lot of effort. I wouldn't say it was hard, but it was a lot of effort. It was a lot of being mindful. It was a lot of realizing that I was not thinking positively and recognizing like what does that feel like when I'm not thinking positively? And then how do I shift that? Like there are a lot of steps into that, to move to that space. Now, you said you've been into personal development since 1998. Congratulations. That's fantastic. For me, it started in 2015. So I started a little later in life but it's never too late in life. And that's what I was trying to
Right.
say there. So it's never too late because we all have different stages that we are in our lives. And it's when we decide, like Nikki, you said, decide, it's when we decide that we want to change, that things will change. And then you also mentioned, like using somebody like you. So why don't you share with us, like, what is it that you do to help people, to live a better life, to help them to transform?
Great. Yeah. So there are a couple things I emphasize, and one of them is to put yourself first. And that is a struggle for many people. We're so used to thinking of other people, our siblings, our parents, our children, our spouse, our partner. And so I do emphasize put yourself first. And one client, before she became a client, she said, how do I do that? How do I do that? And
Yeah.
so it can be a process. But again, you start, you do it, you declare it, you make a plan and you take baby steps. And another thing I like to think about when I'm making decisions is, does this move me in the direction of my dream? So if it's a yes, then yeah, do it. If it doesn't, then maybe don't do it. So yeah,
That's
I
good
forgot.
because like what is your dream? That's okay. What is your dream? Like we have to
Yeah,
know what that dream is in order to
exactly.
know if what we're doing is moving us toward that dream.
That
And,
direction.
and
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Nikki, but I spent so many years not knowing how to dream. And
Mm,
as a kid, all we did is dream. And then at
Right.
some point I lost it. And then I'm founding it, like I'm founding again. I'm finding it again, right? I'm still in the
Yeah.
process of finding it because
Mhm.
it's I find myself sometimes going back to my old ways, my old thought patterns, and then
Mhm.
just being aware that that's happening. And it's interesting because it happened just recently, in 2023, that happened where my mindset shifted back, and then I had to be aware that there I was, and I wanted to go back to the positivity and where I was, where I was having a much better time. Having a
Right.
positive life. So now
Yeah.
people can connect with you on Instagram. You're over there at dr.nikki, Nikki 808. Connect with her over there. If you want to talk to her about, finding out how she can help you to transform your life, please reach out to her. We want to make sure that, we provide as much value as possible for you. So if you're in that place in your life, you're like, you know what? I'm feeling like I'm not really achieving everything that I want in life or everything that I think I deserve. I think I deserve it. Please reach out to Nikki and see how she can help you to get that, to make that transformation in your own life. And so, Nikki, I wrote a note here. Let's see, in the book, Anatomy of Abundance, let me put that back up here. In this book, Anatomy of Abundance, when you talk about declaring intentions, which we're talking about declaring just a little bit, and then and nurturing a positive mindset. And so I'm curious, like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you nurture a positive mindset?
That's a good question. Yeah. So consistency is important. And again, focusing on what you desire. So your energy, you hear people talk about high vibration, low vibration. So that is true. If you're thinking negative or optimist, if you're thinking negative or pessimistic, it's going to be a low vibration. But if you think love, bliss, pleasure, it's a higher vibration and it influences everything around you. So, to change your mindset, just be determined. So, it's like your mind, how your mind is set, you determine that. And then I've also heard people say your frequency. So, again, talking about vibration, your frequency is based on what you think and how you feel frequently. So, it's kind of like the
Hmm.
culmination or yeah, how you're thinking frequently is going to determine your frequency. So if you want to change your mindset, you got to start thinking in the higher vibration more frequently, more consistently, and yeah, incorporate it into your daily life. And again, like you mentioned, the morning, you might have a morning ritual, which I do, and I encourage everyone to have morning ritual, morning practice, morning routine. And you kind of write down ahead of time the things you're going to do. So maybe you're going to pray, maybe you're going to meditate, maybe you're going to journal, maybe you're going to have a walking meditation. So you're going to go out and walk and then think positive thoughts while you're walking. You're going to have some visualizations, how you would desire things. Again, that best outcome. What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would it sound like? And so, yeah, so there are different approaches. When I was first, it was suggested that I journal. So I was in a really severe car accident a few years ago outside of the
Mm.
country. And I went through therapy, talk therapy, and some other things. And the therapist suggested that I journal. And I was reluctant. I was like, no, I don't want to journal. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to focus on it. And then he said, well, your brain is going to think about it anyway. So if you're not confronting it, your brain's still going to be having those thoughts and processing it. And so from that, I gave it a try, and journaling changed my life. So I do encourage everyone to try journaling. And then some people are like, well, what if someone finds the journal? I'm like, get one. I mean, where's mine right there? Don't worry about that. Tie it up, put a bow on it, whatever. And then, but definitely can suggest that and think you should consider journaling if you're not journaling because it lets you get things out of your mind. So if something's bothering you subconsciously, again, just get it on paper and it frees your mind to think about other things and more important things. And then also you can go back and look at it if you wish. And then there are different types of journaling. So I do aspirational journaling. So I don't really
Mm.
reflect on at 10 o'clock this happened or today this happened. So I'm writing more about what I desire and how I want things to come, how I want them to resolve. Yeah. So you can write in that way as well.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. Well, for you, you did mention consistency. You mentioned that, the journaling, having some sort of morning practice and stuff. And I think that's really important too. That consistency is a very important piece because it helps our brain to, you have that repeatable pattern. And I am
right,
probably I'm one of those who is in the camp of like, I forgot to be consistent for the last 3 weeks, kind of thing. And then I just have to remind myself, okay, it's time to get back into it, whatever it is. But I'll share that in 2015, I broke through a fear every single day for a year. And what I didn't realize at that time is that I was creating a pattern. And that was a pattern of saying, I have a fear. Let me break through this. And then I would examine to see what the result was after breaking through it. And so I was creating this pattern inside of myself that fear is not a bad thing. Fear was actually
right,
something that would help me to progress and to up level my own personal life and business life. And so it's been an
right.
interesting journey to say the least. So Nikki, you mentioned your accident, and in the book again you mentioned that it led to you embracing self-healing, self-love, and spiritual development.
Yeah.
So why don't you share a little bit about that?
Ooh, okay. So yeah, so where do I start? I had a brain injury, I had an out of body experience, like I was knocked unconscious. And so that was really powerful, like the process of coming back to myself and like looking like, okay, and just making sense of all of that. But what I took away more was the healing. So it was just like me with the brain injury, broken bones from my head to my toes, and just being determined to get back to myself and being open to receiving help. I had to ask for help from friends, from family. My friends would come and walk me. Like I had to learn to walk again, had to learn to read again. And I spent a lot of time meditating and praying and journaling. And it's like I had to take care of myself. Like no one else was going to do it. So that was a strong impetus for me and this self love and self care journey. It was like,
Mm.
fortunately, I had the time because I couldn't work. And just and
Yeah, I think
so
yeah, sometimes we're made to slow down, right?
right, right,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Well,
so I
gosh, I'm
just had
glad to
more opportunity
more opportunities.
to focus on myself and to take care of myself and yeah,
That's
get
fantastic.
more
I'm glad
into
you took that time to make something of it, instead of like woe
right.
is me and down and down and down. But you had already been in personal development for many years, so that was good that you were able to tap into that and then to help move you forward. And that's so good that you were able to take that and really do something with it that was productive. You know.
Yeah, you're right. Because there's the term post traumatic stress. And so, even right after the accident, I said I had post traumatic growth. So, again,
Oh,
putting a positive spin on it. Yeah. And of course, I was into yoga and meditation, all of that before the accident. And this is one thing I talk about sometimes when I'm marketing my coaching or talking to people about it. Um, I want people to be able to be preventive, take preventative
mm,
action. So it's like when I was in that car and I woke up from being unconscious and I could hardly breathe. I screamed for help, but the scream didn't go out very far because the car was all mashed in. And then I realized I don't have enough air to scream again. So it's like, what am I going to do? And I was just calm. And I'm pretty sure part of that was because I had practiced yoga for so long and I was a person of faith and I didn't freak out. It was like, okay, I don't have enough energy to scream again. And I just lost consciousness again. And so I just think the fact that I had those skills before the accident was helpful when it actually happened and also helpful while I was recovering. So again, I encourage people, you never know what's going to happen. I'm not trying to scare anyone into taking care of yourself, but you know, uh, if the sooner you start, like don't wait for something tragic to happen before you take the
mm,
time or the energy to take care of yourself and then learn how to do that. So
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
let's get
definitely.
started as soon as possible. You
Get
deserve it.
started.
And deserving
Yeah.
is part of it. Yeah. You a lot of times you get what you deserve. They say you don't get what you want, you get what you think you deserve. And so you deserve a coach. You deserve a vacation. You deserve to eat healthy food, like get off of the dollar menu and, eat some vegetables, eat healthy, maybe consult with a nutritionist or, a health coach. Just you deserve the best. And the bigger your goal, the more support you need. And so, like me, I still have coaches and I still pay for
Hmm.
programs and trainings and courses. I have a PhD and I still take classes. So, there's always something to learn and always be willing to get support.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. And we're running out of time. And so I wanted to just find out from you. So this book, Anatomy of Abundance, is out. It's ready for you to purchase. You can go to go.patrinawisdom.com/abundance to get your copy over there. Nikki, what is one thing that you would like the audience to reading the book? What would you like them to take away from it?
I think one thing to take away is you get the life that you think you deserve. So if you don't think you're worthy of a raise, if you don't think you deserve a career that you like, you're going to stay stuck in one that you don't like, that you think you have to do. But just remember, you can get what you desire. It might take a little time, but just write it out, have some clarity about what you want. And that's what I talk about in the chapter. Writing out how you desire to feel, what you desire to have in your life, and refer to it daily or multiple times a day, and make a plan. What will it take from you to get from where you are to where you desire to be? And be creative and focus on what are the benefits of that as well. The benefits of you having that goal, and then that gives you more motivation and inspiration as well. So the thing to take away is be clear on what you want and dream big. Think big about what you want. Don't take small steps. It's too late for that. It's 2024. We're thinking big. We're taking advantage of every day, of every opportunity. We're not procrastinating. We're taking action, just like your publishing company, taking action.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, declare what you want, declare it big, make a plan, and get the support you need to make it happen. And just be consistent and believe you deserve it.
Definitely. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, declare it. Declare it. Even if you don't believe it, declare it, because eventually you will believe it the more you declare it. And so make it happen. I'll share just briefly that there was a time, it was almost 9 years ago, that I was speaking to a group, and out loud came these words from my mouth. And I remember it so clear as a bell. And that was that I have declared from this moment forward, I will spend the rest of my life having as much fun as possible, hanging out with positive and uplifting people who are making a positive impact on the planet. And I have continued to declare that since that day. And that's exactly what is happening in my life. It's exactly what is happening in my life. And so I love how you share that you declare it and you will believe it. At the beginning, I did not believe that to be something that I could have, but it has happened. So make that declaration.
Awesome.
Nikki, yeah, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you
I have
so
a
much for
similar
being,
story too.
oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, share it, share it.
Okay, so actually, so one day I journaled. This was after the accident, maybe 2 years after the accident. I was still recovering. And I wrote, one day I will do yoga, because I couldn't do any of these things at the time. Do yoga, play tennis, and go for walks. And as I was writing it, I didn't really believe it, but something in my subconscious said, write it, write it, write it. And so I wrote it. And then it was this year. So the accident was in 2017. It wasn't until this year that really came true. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm playing tennis. I can't play to the same extent that I used to play, but I did it. I was doing yoga and I was going for walks, and I had posted all of them on Facebook. And so I was like, wow, I didn't really believe it, but I felt something inside saying it's true. Just write it, and believe it. And it came true. So yeah.
Oh, congratulations. That's so
Thank
fantastic. I love it. I think it's important for us to, especially like you mentioned, the clarity, because the more clear we are, the more likely we are to receive it. Because if we don't have
you.
clarity, how does it know how to come to us? So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out there. Just get out there, make your declarations, be clear on them, and then, just keep believing in yourself. You do deserve it. You do deserve it. Nikki, thanks so much
Right.
for being part of this book and being part of this interview today. Truly appreciate what you're doing to help other people to live the lives that they truly, truly desire and do deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
all right.
one of the things that I've personally found from my experience of working with Action Takers Publishing is that I've walked away with more friends than I had before, because of the relationship that you build with the authors while working in an anthology. I think it's an amazing project to be able to get published. It's a fantastic way to get published the first time, and I've almost seen people who get hooked on doing anthologies, because once that bug is bitten, you feel like you can release more and more and more and more stories, and Linda's got a bunch of titles that I think resonates with a lot of us who live in the real world.